Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news in a move that's got the entire NFL buzzing. There's chatter about a potential blockbuster trade that could reshape the NFC North and set the stage for an even more competitive Detroit Lions in the upcoming seasons. Sources indicate that the Detroit Lions may be eyeing a trade to acquire Chris Jones, the star defensive tackle from the Kansas City Chiefs. If this happens, it could be a game changer, not just for the Lions' defense, but for their entire championship outlook. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds like pure speculation, right? Well, the whispers are growing louder and the implications are enormous. So let's break down what this could mean for Detroit, for Chris Jones, and for the NFL landscape as a whole. First off, it's essential to understand who Chris Jones is. This guy is a genuine force on the interior defensive line. He's been a dominant presence for the Chiefs, especially in 2025, when he put up 12 sacks, showcasing his ability to disrupt even the most well-oiled defenses. He's not just a pass rusher. Jones is a complete player, excelling in run defense with over 30 run stops and boasting a win rate of around 24% against double teams, which is elite for a defensive tackle. His pressures per snap are off the charts, with a pass rush grade of 92.8, making him one of the top interior defenders in the league. His ability to collapse pockets, combined with a relentless bull rush, means he can take over games and turn the tide of a matchup on his own. We're talking about a guy with a career total of 87, 5 sacks and nearly 280 pressures, which puts him among the best to ever do it at his position. Now the Chiefs are under a bit of cap strain, with a negative cap space of around $52 million after extending players like Travis Kelce, which has made their financial flexibility tight. They finished 12-5 in 2025 but fell short in the playoffs, and their defense, ranked 8th overall, has been leaking points, allowing around 21 points per game, partly due to injuries on the offensive line which have hampered their pass protection. They've allowed roughly 4 yards per carry and 46 sacks, a number that's been a concern, especially with the cap crunch. Trading Jones makes strategic sense for them. They're potentially looking to rebuild and cut costs, especially with Patrick Mahomes' massive extension hitting the books, costing around $60 million annually. Plus, the Chiefs are reportedly eyeing extensions for Mahomes and trying to manage their roster to stay competitive without overspending. Rumors suggest that Kansas City might be looking to send Jones to Detroit in exchange for a second-round pick in 2026, which would give them some cap relief while still building for the future. But why Detroit? Well, the Lions are in a prime position to make this happen. Their defensive line, anchored by players like McNeil, has been solid but could use that extra punch inside. Adding Jones would instantly elevate the interior, giving Detroit a true disruptor who can collapse pockets, generate pressure, and help contain the run game. The Lions' defense has been improving steadily, ranking around the top 5 in many categories, but Jones could push them into a whole new tier. His presence alone would force offenses to double-team him, freeing up other pass rushers like Hutchinson to get after the quarterback with less attention. And with the Lions' current cap space, somewhere between $4 million and $13 million, they're in a flexible position to make a move, especially considering how much of a difference Jones could make. The impact on Detroit's defense would be immediate and dramatic. Jones's ability to create pressure from the inside complements the Lions' existing pass rushers perfectly. Imagine him teaming up with McNeil, forming a duo so disruptive that offenses would have to game plan around them. His run defense would also be a massive upgrade, helping Detroit better contain power-running teams like the Bears and Packers. And if we look at past examples, like Buckner's impact on the 49ers in 2024, or how elite interior defensive linemen can turn a defense into a top-tier unit, it's clear that Jones's addition would boost the Lions' chances of dominating in the trenches. Let's not forget the strategic element here. Detroit's defense is already one of the best in the league, but adding a player like Jones could push them into the elite category, top-ranked, capable of shutting down even high-powered offenses. His presence could lead to a plus 30% increase in EPA versus the run, improve red zone stops by around 20%, and reduce yards after contact allowed by an average of 1 yard. This would make the Lions' defense not just good, but legendary. The combination of Jones and McNeil would form a formidable wall, and the pressure they generate could be the difference-maker in close games, especially in playoff scenarios where every possession counts. Now, what does this mean for the broader NFL landscape? Well, it's pretty straightforward. If Detroit pulls the trigger, it signals a shift in the power dynamics in the NFC North and the NFC overall. The Lions would be positioning themselves as serious contenders, not just for this season but for the next several years. It would send a message to the rest of the league that Detroit isn't content with just making the playoffs. They're here to dominate. It also puts pressure on teams like the Packers and Bears, who are trying to rebuild and catch up, but might struggle against a Lions team fortified with a disruptive force like Jones. From a Super Bowl perspective, acquiring Jones significantly boosts Detroit's odds. Before the trade talks, the Lions were already considered a serious threat with an offense ranked third overall, averaging 30 points per game, led by Jared Goff and a versatile ground game featuring Montgomery. But with Jones anchoring the interior, the defense could elevate its performance even further, especially in critical moments. Imagine the Lions entering the playoffs with a defense that's not just good but elite, capable of collapsing pocket after pocket, forcing turnovers, and shutting down the run game. Historically, teams with dominant interior pass rushers tend to turn into champions. Look at what Aaron Donald did with the Rams in 2019, or how Buckner transformed the 49ers front in 2024. This move could be the final piece that pushes Detroit into that rarefied air of Super Bowl contenders. And speaking of the Super Bowl, the odds could shift dramatically with a trade for Jones. Currently, Detroit's odds are around plus 1,000, which isn't bad. But if they land Jones, some projections suggest those odds could shorten to plus 400, making them one of the favorites in the league. His ability to collapse the pocket, pressure quarterbacks like Goff and others, and dominate inside would be invaluable in high-stakes playoff games. It's not just about the immediate boost, it's about setting a foundation for sustained success. When you have a disruptor like Jones anchoring your line, it changes how offenses approach you, and that opens up opportunities for the entire defense to thrive. Now, let's talk a bit about the potential cost. The Chiefs, with their cap issues, are likely to want a decent return, possibly a second-round pick, as mentioned, or even more if they're convinced Jones is a franchise-altering player. For Detroit, that's a small price to pay considering what Jones brings to the table. His cap hit for 2026 would be manageable, especially compared to the value he provides. Plus, with the Lions' current cap space, they could absorb his contract without much trouble, especially if they restructure some deals or extend certain players to free up cap room. It's also worth noting that this move isn't just about one player, it's about signaling Detroit's intent. The Lions have been building steadily over the past few seasons, adding talent, improving their defense, and making playoff pushes. This would be the statement move that says, "We're all in for a Super Bowl run and we're willing to do whatever it takes." It's the kind of move that can galvanize a team, excite the fan base, and send a message to the NFC that Detroit is here to stay and to win. Of course, the trade isn't guaranteed, and there are hurdles to overcome. The Chiefs want to maximize their return, and Detroit will need to decide if they're willing to part with the draft capital and cap space needed. But if the rumors are true and talks are progressing, it's a fascinating development that could redefine the NFC North and the entire league landscape. The Lions, with their talented roster and now possibly adding a generational disruptor like Chris Jones, could be on the cusp of something truly special. It's the kind of move that makes fans dream about a second Super Bowl, about cementing Detroit's place among the NFL's elite, and about finally ending the long wait for another championship. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Detroit Lions news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, if Detroit manages to pull off this trade, the implications will be felt immediately. The Lions would be entering the playoffs with one of the most disruptive interior lines in the league, capable of causing chaos for any quarterback. Their pass rush, already formidable, would become downright terrifying, and their run defense would take a massive step forward. The team's identity as a physical, aggressive squad would be cemented, and the chances of making a deep playoff run would skyrocket. With Jones anchoring the middle, teams would have to rethink how they approach Detroit, and that strategic advantage could be the difference in tight games or key postseason moments. And let's not forget the long-term vision. The Lions are no strangers to smart cap management and strategic draft picks. Adding a player of Jones's caliber aligns perfectly with their plan to build a sustainable winning culture. It's about creating a roster that can compete year after year, not just for one season. With Jones, Detroit's defense could be the envy of the league, and their offense, led by Goff, Montgomery, and a talented receiving corps, would have the support system needed to dominate. In conclusion, this trade rumor isn't just hot air. It's a potential seismic shift in the NFL landscape. If Detroit is able to land Chris Jones, it could be the final piece that pushes them into Super Bowl contention, transforming their defense from good to legendary. The Chiefs might be looking to rebuild and manage their cap, but for the Lions, this could be the move that cements their status as a future dynasty. The NFC North would never be the same, and the league better watch out. Detroit is coming, and they're bringing one of the most disruptive forces in football with them. The stage is set, the pieces are moving, and Lions fans, we might just be witnessing history in the making. Buckle up, it's going to be an exciting ride ahead. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters, so much to US and TO, the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news.